So I do this thing called self-care sabbaticals. So
Ooh.
every 3 months, every quarter, I take off 3 to 5 days. And those 3 to 5 days are where I am nothing to no one. So the only time I want to hear my name is if it's followed by what drink would you like? Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm not mom, I'm not wife, I'm not mentor, I'm not coach. And the reason I do it is not because I need, some amazing like yoga retreat meditation. It's because I need silence so I can hear myself. So I can hear like where I need to go, because you spend so much of your life putting other people first, kind of meeting other expectations, hitting their goals and doing what you're obligated to do, that sometimes you lose sight of what is it that you want to do. And in those quiet moments, that's where I can really drill down and say, you know what? This was a great, deciding to do the show. That was decided on a self-care sabbatical. I brought the opportunity to my family. We talked about it. They all said they were on board. And then I took a sabbatical and I said, is this something I want to do? What does this mean for me? If nothing else was a factor, how would I feel and show up in the world? Does this align with what God has for me? And when I returned from that trip, I was able to say, yeah, this is something I want to do.
Hello, Heal Squad. It's Better Together with Maria Menounos. And as you've guessed, well, I'm not Maria Menounos. I'm Mr. Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, subbing in for my beautiful and talented wife, bringing you part 2 of our interview with the great Nicole Walters. In episode 1, Nicole gives you the blueprint for how to succeed in business. And in this episode, we're going to discuss how you succeed in business, but also how you succeed as a mom and as a wife, and how you deal with hardship, including terminal illness for one of your children. So, very important interview. Stay tuned. Because now I want to talk about parenting, because I think what you've done as a parent is, as a parent who also went on to be very successful, right? So you have look, no one's life is perfect, and you'll be the first to admit that.
Not at all. Yep.
You have a career, you have a husband, you have 3 kids that you adopted, and then one with a severe medical condition. So that is a lot. And again, there was no giant dowry to finance all of this.
Not a penny.
Right. Okay. So this is someone who
just,
I love people who figured it out. So take me through. Are you with your husband at the time you see your 3 daughters?
Yeah. So
Tell me the story, Nicole.
I got to tell you, and I think that you'll appreciate this. It all stems from my personality of, if I see a problem, I try to fix it. I don't walk past a piece of trash on the ground without picking it up. I believe that I am involved in this world as a member of this world, right? So because of that, when I saw my girls actually saw their mother, who we still talk to, we have a wonderful relationship with their biological mother, but their bio mom was panhandling with our youngest at the time, who had just turned 3, and she was so tiny. We were coming back from grabbing dinner, me and my husband, date night, not even thinking about having kids, not even, none of that. But we pull over just to see, because it was a little too late. It was like 10 o'clock in October, and we live in Baltimore. It was just one of those days. So we pulled over and I was like, hey, what's going on? How can I help? And, we gave him $1, but then I just couldn't get the image out of my mind that the girl seemed a little too young and she had holes in her shoes, and maybe there was something more I could do. So I had my husband circle back around, and we, pulled over, chatted with them. And the mother told me she had 2 more kids at home. And so we gave them a ride home. And then I said, hey, girls, do you need like a mentor? Do you just need someone to help you after school? Just kind of, what can I do that makes you comfortable and sort of respects that you're also your own people? And they said, yeah, we'd love homework help after school. So that's what I started doing. But then we found out in 30 days that the mother was going to be incarcerated. And we didn't want the girls separated. We wanted to make sure they were in good shape. We wanted to make sure they were stable. So we said, well, you know what? We will take the girls in. And then, when you get out in a year, we'll figure out that. And so a year later, the girls were calling us mom and dad, and no longer Miss Nicole and Mr. Josh. And their mother agreed that it just made a lot of sense, for them to stay with us. So we co-parented for a while. And then she signed over custody and said, I think we're just a big family, and now I'm mom.
And how many years now has it been since then?
It's been 6 years. 6 years.
And there were 3 kids in total, or did she even have more kids?
So she has older kids. Like she actually has kids that are my age, So I mean, she had our youngest when she was, I think, 48, So I mean, we got them at 3, 11, and 14, and now they are 9, 18, and 22. So in 5 years, I've sent 2 to college, potty trained, kindergarten, 2 proms, driving lessons, boyfriends. It's been life like condensed.
Yeah. And your husband,
God bless him.
God bless him is right. And he's a sweetie because you can see these kids are just adorable. They're
sweet. They're good. They're really amazing.
I first of all, like, you're incredibles. I love this line of like, we're involved in this world because I'm a member of this world, and picking up trash as you see it. I have all this stuff that when I was a civilian, before I became a samurai, I would like laugh at this. I'd be like, trash. Hey, I want to be
we
drunk.
All get that awakening where we're like, wait.
Yeah, wait. There's more to all of this.
Yeah,
and it's such a blessing for me to step into the show because you guys just teach me so much. But I love that, and then you took it further to say, hey, how do we? And I love how you eased into this. And thank goodness she didn't fight you, because sometimes someone could have. Ego gets in the way and they say, no, those are my kids. Or, ooh, I see a nice big fat checkbook there.
Absolutely. Well, we weren't looking to replace her, and I didn't have the checkbook then. When I met her, I only had $24 in my bank account and $30,000 in debt. So, I mean, I started my business simultaneously while becoming, this mom, and it was because I had to, I had a kid who was going to college within 2 years. How was I going to pay for that? The things were all coming to a head. I already felt the calling of my purpose, but I also knew that I needed to generate more revenue with my time. So, I mean, everything was a catalyst for each other. And their mother she's amazing. I mean, like, she's been through a lot. She has a lot of struggles with addiction and you name it. But I mean, she's doing the best she can with the tools that she's been given. And if I'm a tool that gets to help her, I'm grateful, because she's also given me the greatest gift while doing one of the hardest things she's ever had to do in her life. You know, so I respect and honor her.
No, and I commend her to love them unconditionally.
Oh, that's what that
is. I want them in a better place.
100%. And I mean, so she's always been in their life. And, what's great is for my little one, who hasn't really felt as many of the impacts of the trauma of that previous life, because she was, 3 when we got her. She looks at it as, I have 2 mommies, I have a mom and a mommy. I have 2 dads. I have a dad and a daddy, and she's just like, I'm grateful because I have all the things,
Yeah.
So it works.
And again, it's how you look at things. I always say there's a negative truth and a positive truth.
Yes.
She could look at the negative truth of, like, my mother was incarcerated,
this and that.
Right? Or it's like, I have 2 moms.
Yep. And she's like, it's great. She says it like, she's always like, it's great because mommy had a hard time with it. So, and you're really good at being a mommy, so you can do that part, And I was like, I sure can, Like, little does she know I'm not so great at it. I'm making it up as I go, but until she's onto it, we just keep putting money in the therapy budget.
So did you get ahead of it and put them in therapy, or did you just kind of?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, that's our family probably spends a mortgage in therapy, and it's just because we want them to always have a safe place to unpack things. And we just take it very seriously, because you just never know what's going to pop up. And also, like, we're on TV. I mean, come on, Kevin. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's a whole other thing. But I just want to get ahead of it. Also, like, the trauma of being on the streets.
Oh,
like,
of course.
Come on.
I mean,
if we're talking about our fathers and mothers who were nice and hardworking and gave us a lot, but saying maybe you can't do this, or you need to be a lawyer, like, that's a high class problem compared to 3 kids on the street.
For sure. So what's blessed though is that my kids, because of the household that they're in now, where we choose positivity, we choose to thrive in positive thinking. My kids look at it as, oh, of course, this is this is just a fulfillment of the world that I deserve to be in. So yes, I grew up in poverty, but I was always meant to live in $1 million homes, because that's what I deserve. That's what my worth is. And if I keep doing the work, that's what I will always have. And even better, I can give it to others. So they don't see it necessarily as I came from someplace bad. It's just part of their story, and it's no longer their story. It just informs the decisions they make for the future.
And you help to teach them that, right?
100%. Like, that's the way we speak in our home. Like, anything that happens to us is just part of our story. It doesn't dictate who we are or determine our destiny.
I love part of our story. Writing that one down.
Yeah, just a chapter.
That's
Just a
it. No,
chapter
it's
in a story.
it's not a bad thing or a good. It's just part of our story.
Yeah.
And so you again, when I work with people and I'm trying to help them, I always have to look at the whole foundation. It can't just be what do you want to do in business. I have to know. Listen, is mom and dad behind you? Is your
Right.
partner behind you? Are we in
It's so
toxic?
true.
You have to know, right? So when you're dealing with people who come to you want to have careers, but then are also moms. And let's say they have children today. I mean, children today seem just riddled with anxieties that
Yes, so many
we didn't
things.
have between the phones and what we've done to them. And I get it. But what you found the means to, and now have the means to put them in therapy. But how do you advise, say, the moms and dads who don't have the means, but want to get ahead of it with the kids with therapy?
I mean, so one of the things that we do with our girls is our kids don't have devices. So like that is, I mean, the blessing is we got them later. So, if you haven't given your kids devices, don't give them devices. So my kids don't spend times looking at screens. They go outside, they play with sticks, they garden with me. We go for walks together and talk. We've set up something called one-to-ones. I stole that from corporate. A one-to-one is whenever you have to talk to your boss, but we do them with our kids. So my kids know that at any point in time, if they want to call a one-to-one, I will stop anything wherever I am in order to have that time with them. So I could be on stage with, Beyonce herself. If my kids text me and say, I need a one-to-one, that mic goes down. I exit stage left and she's just gonna have to figure it out because my kids need me. And then in that time, we sit there and they don't have to talk. They don't have to say anything. It just means that mom will sit there and be a presence in the room with you in that emotion. You never have to stand in it alone. And then when you're ready to talk, we can talk. Or if you never want to talk, we don't have to talk. And then we can exit, And so it's that awareness that whatever they're feeling, they don't have to be in it by themselves, that they can just speak up and look for their safe person. That's the thing that I'm teaching them. And that doesn't cost a penny.
No. I love the one-on-one thing, the one-to-ones, excuse me.
Yeah, one-to-ones.
In the mob, they would call it a sit down. That's the way the mob would handle it when I was back in the day working for this company that was mob. I'd be like, we need to sit down.
We need to sit down.
That's probably more aggressive. But what asterisks and responsibilities do you teach them to not always go for the one-to-one, right? Because you can't always press the red button for nuclear war.
That's right.
Right. So what did you do? Did you balance it to say, hey, now
absolutely,
it can't be every day. Like,
absolutely,
I can't tie my shoe today. So let's have one-to-one.
Yeah, one of the things that we do is we've always empowered, especially with our little one that we've had since she was 3. Whenever she has an issue, whether it's with a family member or with a friend at school or even a teacher, we always say, you can talk to us about the issue. And then after I hear about it, I offer them, I say, hey, is this one that you think I need to step in on? Or do you want to go back and see if you can sort it out yourself? I believe you're capable of doing that. I'm always here to step in for you. But if you don't want to tag me in, I think you can take this one on. And what I found was, especially from our little one from the beginning, she'll say, you know what, I think I can handle it, because they just needed more perspective on like different options so they don't feel in a corner. And so and my kids also know they only get one for school. There's only one time mom's going to come down to school and flip tables. Okay. So,
that's it.
So
right.
Do you want to use it?
No, I love that. No, because listen, you have to do that because I think
I will do it.
but
one.
But right. But I think we need to let everyone know that because I know many kids who will call for the one-on-one.
Oh yeah, I'm not rescuing
and
my
many
children.
Parents who will run to their rescue quickly. No, so I love that they know that we have to be responsible with this.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then so for other people, like anything available on YouTube or things like that? We had someone recently, a friend of ours actually went onto YouTube and went on a deep dive with her affliction. Was able to get so much helpful information.
Wow.
In terms of give
ourselves therapy, really.
Well, mental health to me is just, it's the thing of this century.
Oh, it's such a thing.
Right. And it's like, even what happened in Colorado and Maria, the huge tragedy, to me, the discussion is mental health. And
the kids are young too. If you've noticed, a lot of these kids are like in their 20s, and you're just kind of like, you know?
Right.
I mean, when I look back on my 20s, which I'll claim were just a little while ago, but they weren't.
Right.
But when I look back on my 20s, you know, I realize a lot of what we believe is going on doesn't have the same intensity that leads us to action, you know? So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're able to unpack that, you can actually level set it and neutralize some emotions before the action kind of explodes. A great resource that I always advocate for is a company called Open Path Collective. Openpathcollective.org is a nationwide, you know, reputed licensed therapy organization, and they provide therapy services on a sliding scale, meaning you can get an hour of therapy even virtually for as little as $30 an hour. So various therapists around the world will say, hey, I'll open up a few slots in my books for new patients that may not be able to afford it, and they can book me through Open Path. So, I mean, that's a resource that I always offer to people to say, hey, you know, you can get help, hopefully within your budget.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And then as far as, I love that you limited the use of the devices.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And then how were you with, how did you handle homework and all that stuff where you had so much going on?
We have a rule in our house, which is everyone on the same floor. So my kids don't do the thing where they come in the house and they run upstairs, they close the door, and I don't see them again until food. Like, that's just you're renting my home right now until you have your own.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's so 90s.
Yeah, it's not a thing, right?
Yeah,
what they do is everyone's on the same floor. So they have, I converted my breakfast nook into 2 study areas. They sit there. And so while I'm cooking, they can ask me questions. You know, if they're talking too long on the phone, I can say, hey, are you talking to a friend about work, or is this homework? Just so I can be, the phrase that I always use is I'm interested in my children. And being interested in them is not helicoptering. It's not being obsessive over them. It's just that I'm interested in everything about them. You want to change your hair? I want to know why, because I love you. You know, you want to try on a new outfit, you're into new music, great. I love that music too. You know, you want to go to a concert, cool. I want to go to that concert also. Like, I want to know everything you like. You like YouTube, great. I want to hear those videos. And the reason why is, one, my kids tell me all the time that their friends can tell that their parents love them, but that they don't like them. And that breaks my heart, you know? So I want my kids to know that I like them too. And then also it allows me to keep tabs on what they're getting fed in their brains, you know? So they watch something on YouTube and they know I'm interested. I can help them unpack if it makes sense or if it doesn't make sense, you know? So there's a reason behind it, but being interested.
And there's a number 3 there too. And you're going to agree with me on this, especially if you are an entrepreneur. They're keeping you young and hip.
Yes.
They're keeping
it keeps me fresh.
Yes.
I know what's going on, you know, and I'm not as cool as my kids. Like, I'd like to think I'm a lot cooler than my kids think I am, but you know, it gives me an appropriate way to embarrass them on a regular basis on social too. So, you know,
you know, it's so funny because I binge on these HGTV shows because I love them all so much. But I think the whole concept of the open kitchen, you know, it's always the big joke is like, we're going to go for a more open concept. Like literally every
knock
show.
Down walls. We just need to knock down some walls here.
Yes, it's always what it is. But I think it's about that everyone is, I recently renovated our house in LA. And, you know, there's one thing with Maria was like, I don't see what you mean. I'm like, no, Maria, this kitchen needs to be big. It's going to be too big. It's going to be weird. I go, no, Maria, you need for children to, if they all congregate and they do. Now, again, I hadn't thought it out like you. Thank you for that gift you gave me. But it's the same
thing, though. You want to be interested in them. You want to see what they're doing.
And one floor. I love that one floor. No,
all the time.
We keep
I walk
everybody
by them
here.
And I'm always asking them, so what are you up to? What are you doing? What's this?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. What do you got going on? They're used to it. And like my kids, if you ask them, they're like, oh my gosh, let's do an impersonation of mom. Tell me more about that. What do you think? Tell me more about that. It's like everything they say, tell me more about that. I could be having a heart attack inside. I'll never forget the first time my now 18-year-old told me she got kissed by a boy. Inside, I died, right? Inside, I was like, you are an infant. How is this possible? You know, and outside, I was like, really? Tell me more about that. How did that make you feel?
Yeah.
Really? Oh. So let's unpack why this happened. Okay, good. So what do you think would be a next step based on your values?
Yeah. Well, what do you do? I know, but what do you do about dating? I know that's a big one.
So dating, and you'll see it on the show, we talk about it, like we date as a family is what that means. So when I say we date as a family, I don't mean it in like the creepy way, right? But I mean, we date as in, I just want to be involved in the conversation because I'm interested. So from the moment, it doesn't mean that I need to go with you on all the dates or I need to meet this guy from the beginning while you're still sorting it out. But the minute you're like, I think I like someone, I'd love to hear about it. If you're going to gush about it to a friend, I love you and I'm interested, tell me about it. So when you tell me, oh my gosh, I like this guy and all that. Great. We're dating. I'm excited about it. Then when it goes to the next stage, I think he's going to ask me out. Great. We're excited that we're about to get axed out. Woo. You know, where are we going on a date?
I love it. They must want to strangle you at some point. You know, deep down, they want to strangle you, but I love it. I'm the same way as you, Nicole.
It's the truth. But the thing about it, though, is like they want to strangle you. But on the other side, I've heard my daughter say things like, I could never bring someone home that wouldn't respect you guys, you know, because I care about that. So it's the messages are in there, you know, or she was with a guy, her current boyfriend that she was talking to for like 3 months without telling me. And this is the first time she's ever done that. And she felt so bad that she was like, I feel so bad that I didn't come clean early on because I guess I was just nervous about it, you know, but she's like, she spilled everything. She was like, I just feel so bad about it because that's just not how we do things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And once she told me, I was like, cool, I'm glad you know. But she also was able to say that maybe I didn't spill because I wasn't sure yet. And what does that mean about whether or not he's the right guy for me? If I'm not comfortable telling my mom, thinking that down the line we're going to be together, then you know, what does it mean? It's kind of like social media management. I tell my kids, if you're not comfortable with it going on a billboard that your grandmother is going to drive by every single day, don't put it on social media.
Amen.
It's that simple. You know what I mean? So it's the same concept. Don't date someone that you're too embarrassed to tell me about from day one, because if you think you're going to get married and you're so in love, I'm going to meet him eventually. So come with it.
But again, there's that awareness, right?
That awareness.
You have to have that awareness, and you're instilling that in them. Is there an age that they can start dating? Were you just lax about that? Like Maria's wasn't allowed, I think, till 18. Greek family, very strict.
Maria's parents were immigrants. She never dated until she got married. That's technically how it went.
You're right. 1,000%.
So like my parents only ever met my husband. That was the only guy I ever dated, only guy I've ever been with, as far as they know.
That's the way it should be.
So no, I mean, I want to keep, be open, honest, and I'm aware that they have interest, so it's just the conversations that we have. But no, we just keep it organic. You know what I mean? Like if they say, hey, we're interested in someone, we'll say, so what does that mean? Tell me more, And if they're like, well, I think I want to go on a date. Okay, well, what does that mean to you? Well, maybe it's going to do an activity. Okay, what type of activity do you think would be appropriate? And we just let them kind of talk through it, So what we found was like with our middle one, who's 18 now, there was a guy who kept saying, I just want to come over and watch movies. And she was like, I know what that means. And I don't think I want to date this guy because I know what he's trying to get at. And if he doesn't want to even go play mini golf and do activities like that, then he's not really interested in me because he just wants to come over and like hook up, And I was like, hey, if that's how you feel, I respect that decision. But inside I was like,
yes. Smart girl. By the way, this is how pathetic I am, Nicole. I shouldn't even say that out loud. That I was like, oh, I like movies. I
knew what you were saying, Nicole.
I was like thinking like, oh, wow, yeah, because it's Oscar time. There's so many cool things on Netflix. And he did, you
got to go back in time a little bit. If you were a 16-year-old boy, you did not want to go over to someone's house to watch a movie.
No, but you wanted to go to the movies. You didn't have that experience.
Sure.
But that's hilarious. So, okay, so our middle baby ends up with lymphoma.
Yeah.
So can you take me through that?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it was unexpected. We found out 5 days before her 17th birthday. And, it's crazy because their lives are, and it was in 2019. So she's just on the tail end of her remission now. And so it's still a little bit raw, but we never expected, they've been through so much already, I guess is the best way I can describe it, that I just never, ever anticipated that she would get dealt a card like this. And I think that what was hard for me as an entrepreneur and as a woman of faith and all that was that it just felt like how could this be? This is like, we're doing all the right things. Our family finally found each other. We're doing what we're like, how could this be? I couldn't think of a person, no one deserves cancer, but I couldn't think of a person who deserved it the least. And finally, I just had to put on my hat and say, listen, in the Bible, they talk about how weapons will form, but they won't prosper. And toxic positivity is only focusing on the fact that nothing bad will ever happen. But, real positivity is saying bad things will happen, but I can handle it. So problems will occur, but I'm good at meeting and solving problems, and not pretending like problems will never happen and everything is just positive, positive, positive. So I chose to focus on other things. When I found out it was stage 4 and that we would, be taking this journey, I said, okay, there are more cancer survivors than there are people who didn't survive. You only hear about the walks and the awareness and the things about people who didn't make it. So I refuse to let that be the narrative that I follow because it isn't statistically the truth. Then I had to hold on to the fact that, if I had to spend every single dime I owned and live in a box with my baby alive and well, that's what we were going to do. If there is a solution on this planet anywhere, I will spend and do whatever required to get it. And I had the means to do it. So I was ready for that. And then after that, it was, I'm shutting down this business. I have my team. They can run it. I built it so that it can run. I'm going to be by her side. So I was sleeping by her side in the hospital bed and then hopping on a plane to fly to go film commercials in New York. And then I would turn back around and go right to her hospital bed, for chemo or for whatever, the infections are what always kind of throws things for a loop, so.
Nicole, was there any guilt involved with having to go to work, or were you sure in your brain, like, hey, this is what's paying for the yeah, see, that's what I see Maria suffer from. I wish
it wasn't like that, but there's just no place else that I wanted to be all the time. There were times where she would have to tell me, it's okay, Mom, like I'm fine, and I'm trying not to, but it was just it was hard. You know what I mean? It was hard because as a mom, I always joke that it's like, you need to put your hands on them, it's not enough for your kid to just call you. Even if like my 22-year-old, if I don't hear from her for a week, I will text her and I'm like, signs of life, breathe in my direction. I can't touch you. So you got to send me something, and she'll laugh and send me a text or FaceTime me and say, see, Mom, I'm physically okay. Yeah. But occasionally I'll just fly up because I'm like, I just got to touch you. Like it's a mom peace thing, So that was where it was hard, was just leaving her, and knowing that I couldn't fight this battle for her, but I could lend my energy to her. And I just wanted to always be around to lend my energy. And that part was hard.
And how did you, so just dealing with the guilt is just, how did you deal with it? Just by keep working,
well, it wasn't about me. You know what I mean? It wasn't about me. And I think that is probably one of the things that most moms can understand, that the minute that your child starts going through anything difficult, the first thing that occurs to you is, if I could just take this on, I'm stronger, I'm capable. Yes. Like God give it to me, I'll carry it. And so for me, it was really about not sitting in that guilt because it just didn't belong there. We had a fight we had a battle we had to fight. So that's what I was focused on.
Right. The adrenaline kicks in because, Maria still has this. She had to do Ryan and Kelly. She had a host this week. And thankfully, Maria's mom, who's not speaking a lot right now, like talk about the universe talking. Maria, she'll open her eyes and is like, go do the show. Like,
yes,
like
go.
I want you doing that show. And, but I know how hard it is. Can I offer you something that you may be aware of?
I will take it. I take all the things.
So Maria forever said, with her mom, like my mom was so good and immigrant, she worked so hard. And the female stereotype of an immigrant, just not much of a say, right? Yeah. Not much of a voice, work, take on everybody's pain. And one of the kindest and most generous people I'll ever meet in my life is Maria's mom, who's my mom too. And Maria kept saying, God, just give me the tumor. I can handle it. And guess what though? Maria got a tumor. So that's why I'm saying you got to be careful with
what you say.
Let it be me, because you'll get that. And Maria in therapy has realized that, and now is on a journey to figure out more why women get
and the language.
Yes, the language.
I feel like we have to do that. Like with it's almost as if we don't believe that there is a world that can exist where we aren't suffering and that no one is suffering. It's that we believe that like there's suffering that we have to take it on ourselves, And so you're right. I mean, I definitely had to shift away from thinking so much about what we were lacking in that situation and think of all the good, So when an infection would go away and the fevers would reduce, that was a moment to celebrate. When a scan would come back and the tumors were smaller, that was something to celebrate. You just have to hold on to those wins. When there was a day where there was less pain, that was a win. Where there was a day where she was able to eat more and it looked like she put on weight, that was a win, And so it was hard. And it was also hard running a business where I didn't share a word of it, because I'm a big believer in you share your scars and you don't share your scabs. So when you're out there and you are a public figure, sometimes it can be very easy to want to share that element of your life, and people believe that they're entitled to it because boundaries don't exist in Hollywood, apparently, and it's that we didn't share that journey until it was over. And the reason why we did that was because I wanted to let people know that sometimes you have to get through it first so that you can actually reflect on it and offer the pieces.
And she's a child and she needs to be protected. That's different, because that's
where all our energy goes.
That's her business, and that's for you to decide and that's not for anyone else.
Yeah.
Were there any cancer hacks you can share?
I mean, I know that when it comes to cancer, it's complicated to begin with, right? But one of the things that we did was we laughed a lot. And I know that doesn't feel like a typical hack, use lozenges or, keep thermometers around. There's all those things that the doctors will tell you. It was a cancer in our home was a joke. Right. It was something that was external, that we personified as something that was visiting and not able to stay, and was here for a short amount of time. And we never talked or owned cancer like it belonged in our life. So we were able to mock it. We were able to make fun of it. We were able to say, oh, you're feeling cancery today? And she's like, yeah, things hurt. And I'm like, well, once that cancer is gone, I'm telling you, I'm not making you a single sandwich, because you don't have cancer in your legs, girl. So you're going to be ready to get up and go to that fridge yourself, and she would laugh and I would laugh, we filmed little videos where she was like, hey guys, it's Cancer Chrissy. Today I still have my eyebrows, and I'm like, yeah, you do. And you're looking good. Eyebrows are a family value, and we would try to laugh about the pieces that were going along with it, because we didn't own cancer. It didn't belong to us. We didn't own it. It wasn't part of our family. Yeah. It was a chapter in our story that would be closed. And we were just waiting for the time that it was going to exit. Yeah. So we laughed a lot in our house.
I love that. And you said the recovery was faster as for a result of the things you did.
They thought she would do 8 rounds. She only did 4. Wow. And all the tumors this was stage 4 cancer. It was spread throughout her body. Every single tumor shrunk. And by the time she did her last scan, there was no presence of any tumors in her body whatsoever.
And how long ago was that?
Miraculous.
How long ago was that, Nicole?
That was in 2019, August. Damn. So she finished all of her rounds within 3 months. We did a very aggressive form of treatment, though. She had the option to extend it over time. And she said, no, I'm going to go back to back with my rounds. She went at it. But she made that choice.
And a lot of prayer involved too?
When I tell you that was all I had, sometimes there were times where there are moments I haven't even, I'll probably talk about it in the book someday, but there are moments where I was in the hospital and she was minutes from going into the ICU because every number was crashing. And I literally was I couldn't do anything as a mom. So I'm praying. I'm like, God, this is that time. I need you to show up. I need these numbers to change. It has to change right now. I know you can do it right now. And I would see those numbers going up, and changing. And the doctors would say, we can't explain it. It's inexplicable, And so just like Maria's, when you say her mom's here for 5 years, I know why she's here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's not just because of amazing science and having the money as a tool. She's also here because God wants her to be here, and because you guys are surrounding her and covering her. And, it's just an amazing thing. And as an entrepreneur, I think that I understand this. Belief is an incredibly powerful thing. Yeah. Belief can make money. It can make families. It can heal, your body. Belief is it's so much. And for our family, it's changed everything.
I love that with belief. It's funny because we had a priest come here a couple of days ago and started doing the prayers and the oils and things. Mm-hmm. And Maria made a conscious effort to say, no, this is not a last rites thing. No, he's here to give communion. And we are expecting this miracle to continue, not get a miracle. It's the miracles. And the priest, I loved it because we've had some hospice workers, very lovely people, very well intended. My hat goes off to them because of I can't even imagine doing that job of giving people safe passage. But some of them have been I know you guys want what's best, but this is really it. And I'm like,
I don't need that energy.
Thank you.
Like, keep that for yourself.
Thank you. So we just try to manage that and say, let's not bring that in. But when the priest came in, and he was great, he responded, he goes, that's right. God gives us miracles every day.
All the time.
And Miss Leitz is going to be a miracle. And, Maria was on a FaceTime halfway across the room in her little phone, and Mom, who's not been that coherent in the last few days, opens eyes and says, Maria, I'm here, and that's right. It is going to be a miracle. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the power.
When you see things like that, it becomes so hard to not believe that God will show up in like your business. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he can do stuff like that, and it's part of like, my kids are a walking reminder of resilience and of the way that God shows up. And the way that if you step up and do something little, like pull over to try to solve a problem, that your whole life can change. Yeah. And I can't deny that good things are in store for me, because look at my life. Minutes before I met my kids randomly, my daughters tell me about how they used to pray in bed for someone to come help them.
Oh, wow.
Someone to come help them.
Oh my God.
And they didn't even know. And then here I am, a stranger who pulls over on the street, doesn't know them, and takes them home. And now within just overnight, suddenly they're living in $1 million homes and traveling on jets. It's possible for everything in your life to change the minute you start believing.
And I think that's the thing, is start believing and then maintain that belief. And you're going to have your moments of doubt, which is in the Bible too, and again, I'm not making this all, it's just,
but it's in self-help books. It's in, podcasts. It's the same message, You
got to believe. And how in all of this do you keep the marriage? We've got the 3 kids. We've got you're being a super powerful entrepreneur, now the star of a reality series. How do we keep the relationship alive?
Therapy, right? That's part of it, because we have to have therapy is kind of like one of our dedicated places to work on our tools as our marriage evolves, because we always say we're going to keep growing, right? It's just, we hope that we keep growing side by side instead of growing in a V shape away from each other, So, that is our goal. Is that, we always want to keep improving, and we just hope that we stay together. What we always try to say is, instead of, toxic positivity is, no matter what, we'll always be together. It'll be great. No problems, that sort of thing. We're a happy, perfect couple. No. This pandemic has tried our spirits. You know what I mean? Yes. We look at each other every day, and every day that we wake up and the other partner's still there, we say, we're still choosing this, right? Yes, we are, and knowing that we are choosing it allows us to offer more forgiveness, more grace, more care, around everything that happens. Because we recognize that neither of us has to be here. We're here because we want to be, and that is probably the foundation of all of it, is that even if it's hard, we choose it.
Right. And I like growing side by side. I always say, he's this joke with me, I'm like, we're on the 30-year plan. So when whether she do things, little habits that were annoying, or I did little habits that were annoying, I'm like, over a 30-year period, this is going to break us up.
Oh yeah.
So let's get on the 30-year plan. If I'm leaving drawers open, got it. I'm on it. I'll start closing the drawers. So I was like, 30-year plan. This really isn't fitting into the 30-year plan. So
that's good. Well, it's also my husband has ADD also. So it's one of those things where I have to always remind myself, is this personality or is this something that could change? Because I have to grant grace for some of those things, because if it's personality, I have to ask myself then, because I am my own autonomous person, is that something I'm okay with? Because if I'm accepting it, I cannot keep picking at him for that, because I've said I'm okay. But if it's a personality thing that I cannot change, that's when you do have to reconsider the marriage, because that's who they are, and you are deciding that, So fortunately, a lot of the things either are personality things I love and learn to love, or they're things that, we both can work on.
You can work on, you can live with it. Maybe you can, that's right. They can bend, not break. You can bend, not break.
Right. And the grass is greener, right? We always think in therapy, they always tell us, don't fall in love with the fantasy. Because when you're in a tough spot in your marriage, you think anything else seems better. Oh, it'll be better to be by myself. It'll be better if I was with that guy, or what if I was with this person? And the truth is, you're drawing a fantasy because everyone has their own stuff. So even being by yourself, what would be harder for you then might be holidays, or having someone who's going to watch your dogs, or if your husband always takes care of paying the bills, now you have to do that yourself. So make sure you're being honest in telling yourself the truth about what the other side looks like, because then it allows you to appreciate where you are a whole lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, because and especially in this Instagram world, we all look at, my goodness, and how perfect things are. And I cringe when people compliment me as a husband.
Hashtag goals.
Yeah, oh God, because I'm like, no, if you knew, no, it's hard and it's not perfect, and it's constantly work. I think that's really good about what you're saying about. Is it personality, or is it something that they can change? And, like with Maria, again, growing up with nothing, money, she's so scared about money.
I'm weird about it too.
So, so I know that now. So a lot of decisions now, I don't go to her because she does not have that OCD kind of blocks her.
That capacity, sure.
From, a spend that we need to do or is wise. And I just kind of go, no, I did it. And she's gotten to a point where she's like, I'm glad you didn't ask me. Because
I would have said no just because.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, with my husband, we actually have money limits. So it's like I can spend up to a certain amount and I don't need to really talk about it with him. And as we've gained in our income, that stretched. So in the very beginning, it was like $50 and we didn't have much. Then it went to, 200, so on and so forth. And we both mind the same limit. So if he wants to go spend over a certain amount, he knows I probably want to hear about it. Odds are we're going to decide it's no big deal, but let's just not go drop huge sums of money without talking to each other, So that's how we kind of manage the money. For me, it's actually mostly around charity. I usually don't spend money unless it's charity. So if it's like, he'll say, we have to set a philanthropy budget because I would give it all away.
Right. So no, God love you. Just remember the 3 kids need you too. You know what I mean? Right. So if that's the secure. One beacon, yeah, they're secure, but I'm going to Warren Buffett them. Like, y'all aren't getting anything for free. You better work. Yeah. That's how you have to do it. And then when you're gone, they get it all.
And then they get everything.
That's the big,
but
you
won't
the
tell
wink,
them
wink.
That. They don't get to hear that.
No. I like having a budget for that. I love the idea of money limits for couples. I think that's really fabulous. Is it, I see your husband just seeing the reality show. He reminds me of me in that he just seems very, very sweet. And he kind of, like me, he'll go along to get along. And I'm sure he has his moments like me where he goes, okay, now,
for sure.
Right, enough. So is there, sometimes I see the Marias and the Nicoles of the world, and they can overstep because they're so used to having to be the boss. She's the boss. By the way, USA Network, Nicole's reality show, She's the Boss. Lovely, amazing show. You guys are going to become obsessed with it. But sometimes, it's hard because it takes the man out of the man. And
it's a real thing.
Right?
Yeah. So the way we set it up is, and this is how it's been before we had a penny, because you'll know with Maria, like, even if Maria had nothing, that's just her personality. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would be the boss of the PTA if I didn't have a business. You know what I mean? I'd be the boss of the garden if that was all we had. If we had a farm, I'd be saying, this is how we handle the pigs.
Yes.
That's my personality. So the way that we've set it up is, I'm the gas and he's the brakes, right? So the way that it works is we're both C-suite. I'm CEO, he's COO. So we're both in charge. We just have our areas of excellence that we stay in, and we try not to drift into each other's lane. And then he has this thing called, which is kind of funny, it's called the veto. And the veto is this. It's that he gives, I have a lot of room to run in our life. Like I can, we've got the money limit. I can pretty much do whatever. It's not a thing. But if he puts down his foot and says, look, Nicole, this is a veto, and I recognize that you have such a strong personality that I don't want to argue about because I would lose. You know what I mean? I don't want to argue with you about it. Yeah. But for me, this is the veto. I don't think it makes sense for our family. I'm not comfortable with it. It's a no. I actually just give that to him. And I give it to him just because he never uses it. So if he says absolutely not, like, I'm like, you know what? I get all the yeses. This one, if you feel that strongly about it, it's a no.
And so let me give you the regular guy perspective on that. What I've always said is I just tell guys, like, listen, just because I've seen just couples fight over the smallest things.
Silliest
And I
thing,
just say, guys, give them their way 29 days out of the month or 364 days a year, because then it's like when you have your one day that you go, no, I'm going fishing, or no, I'm buying my motorcycle, or no, we're not doing this.
Yes.
I've seen all the power women I've known from my mother down go, okay, my dad did everything for my mom. Same thing, 364 days. And then when he was like, Kathleen, no. And she would pout or get angry, but no, that was
like,
it.
All right, fine.
She'd be like, yeah. Or like, or my mother, because she was hilarious, like, I never get what I want. Okay, Mom. But I think I don't know why, but it seems like that's the yes, that seems like the formula is live it, let it go. And then, but you'll have that big veto when you need it. But let everything else just go the way,
let everything slide. Yeah.
I think unless the person is unfortunately like addicted or toxic, or
right.
then,
of course. And I mean, there's certain things
in
where the veto always comes into play when it's something that like I just kind of want to do. Like, for instance, the last time my husband used it was I wanted to buy a boat. Like I was like, I want a boat. Like I was like, we have the money for it. I love being on the water.
No. There's so
it was
much
not
maintenance.
Just a no.
Please.
It was a Nicole. We live in Atlanta and we are inland.
Yes.
We are not getting a boat. We're not even near a body of water.
No.
And I was like, we can, and we could move. We could get a lake house. He's like, it's a no. We're not even talking. It's a hard no.
Yes, he's right. No, the maintenance involved on boating. Yeah,
it's a thing.
No, you want to have friends with boats, which you do have them. Forget friends with benefits. Friends with boats. Friends with boats. You get your friends with boats. You guys go on, give them some business advice. We have our reality star friend, and then we just cruise along in our big giant boat.
Kevin, you're bringing the value, okay? No one here can say they didn't get anything of value. Get yourself a friend with a boat.
Friends with boats, if that's what you like. Friends with, because I like it too, but it's the maintenance involved.
Well, he was like, just rent. He was like, we can just rent one for the times that we're down there. Like, stop it. And I was like, but it could be ours. I could leave stuff on it. And he's like, no. What are you even saying?
Yeah, but it's funny. It's a new money way of looking at things. I've gotten to learn by studying old money people who would spend on these extravagant vacations once a year. Yep. And I was like, well, why wouldn't you just own your own like property, like a lake house, and it would accrue over time? And when they did a cost analysis of all the upkeep, and fees and electric, and it was like, it's not worth it. We take our trip to Disney or wherever we go. We spend a lot of money.
Experience it and then go.
And we're out. 100%. And we're out and we have no other headaches. And I can tell you, like, we have a lot of property and I love it because I'm a hands-on guy. But Maria, it is such a drain to her mentally. Yeah. And I think that, that's probably
the thing. Yeah. My, it's one of the downsides is I'm debt-free in my business, and everything I do with the focus on liquidity. Like I'm, stacking up. I don't want to owe anyone anything. I want to be my own bank. And so because of that, it makes it harder for my husband, because I'm like, there is no upkeep. Everything is, there's no debt. I'm just paying for it. Yeah, we just own it. What are you even talking? It's not even work. It's an asset because we can sell it. And he's like, that's not how any of that works.
Yes, not for a boat. Not for a boat. But I love how you look at things too. And Nicole, like, listen, I want to have you back. We learned about entrepreneurs and we learned about
I know.
health.
We can talk all day.
Yeah, no, and I want to continue. And, for anyone who loves Nicole, you're going to get this every week with her podcast?
Yes. Oh, yeah. The Nicole Walters podcast. She's the boss of the family stuff. And then you can follow the journey online at NicoleWalters.com.
Yeah, everything. And yeah, we have to keep this conversation going. And, you've moved me and taught me so much today. And and Kelsey's raising her hand too. And Kelsey has questions.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, Kelsey. I didn't mean to
God. Wait, there's a co-host situation here?
Hi, Nicole. Well, I'm just like the voice of God over here.
She's our producer. As we say in Boston, she's a producer.
I want to know, Nicole, with so much going on in your life, you talk about therapy as a non-negotiable. What are your other non-negotiables when it comes to self-care?
So I do this thing called self-care sabbaticals. Ooh. So every 3 months, every quarter, I take off 3 to 5 days. And those 3 to 5 days are where I am nothing to no one. So the only time I want to hear my name is if it's followed by what drink would you like? Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm not mom, I'm not wife, I'm not mentor, I'm not coach. And the reason I do it is not because I need, some amazing like yoga retreat meditation. It's because I need silence so I can hear myself. So I can hear like where I need to go, because you spend so much of your life putting other people first, kind of meeting other expectations, hitting their goals and doing what you're obligated to do, that sometimes you lose sight of what is it that you want to do. And in those quiet moments, that's where I can really drill down and say, you know what, this was a great, deciding to do the show. That was decided on a self-care sabbatical. I brought the opportunity to my family. We talked about it. They all said they were on board. And then I took a sabbatical and I said, is this something I want to do? What does this mean for me? If nothing else was a factor, how would I feel and show up in the world? Does this align with what God has for me? And when I returned from that trip, I was able to say, yeah, this is something I want to do. But you can't do that with all the noise. You can't do that with the kids asking for stuff and the business asking for things. So I just go to a resort, or I even when I was really broke, I just got a room at the DoubleTree because they had free chocolate chip cookies, and I just stayed there for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an economy way to do this. We talk about it all the time. Yeah. And I will say, Maria, every time she does something like that, oh my God, comes with this morning, because, she's one of the rare days I said, stay in bed. And just even as I was leaving, she said, I want to do, I have an idea for a show about blank. I don't even know what it was.
Perfect.
But those ideas and the breakthroughs, even more than the business ideas, guys, the breakthroughs come when you have those moments of quiet. And I love that idea of self-care sabbaticals.
Me
My
too.
goodness.
I'm in.
Yes.
Well, and I like too what you said, Nicole, because it's like the breakthroughs come, but also you're able to take time to reflect. Am I doing what I really want to be doing? It seems like it is, but there's so much going on that I can't really reflect on it. So absolutely. I love that.
Well, and also celebrate, right? I think Kelsey, I know you're probably like this too. All of us, we don't take enough time to enjoy the moment we're in and be present.
Never.
We're so by nature, and it's enjoyable, on to the next thing, right? Or juggling a million things, or what's my next great idea? So it was during those sabbaticals that I also get to give thanks. And, as a God girl, just say, thank you, God. Like, I am in a different place today than I was yesterday. And I was carried there by your work and showing up with the efforts to meet that work. And I just wanted to say thank you, and taking that moment to give that gratitude helps fuel the next steps to come. So, I mean, if you're just moving, that's part of why people arrive at new opportunities and they're like, I don't even deserve this. How did I get here? It's because you didn't reflect on all the work you did, to earn it. So it's just critically important. It's part of that time.
Or you're moving too fast. You don't even see it.
You don't even see it. You miss it.
You don't see those 3 kids on the side of the road.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
You're amazing.
Yeah, right?
You're amazing. You guys are my favorites. This is a best friend party.
Yes.
I appreciate everyone else got to listen. However, these are my new best friends and they can't get rid of me.
Yeah. No, we're going to Hershey. I'm so excited.
I'm coming.
Yeah. And then now wait till we get off here and I start rattling your cage about your career. But that's a whole other thing.
Can you imagine if people saw on social afterwards, they're like, yeah, so it's just like, a couple months later, I saw a photo of all of them at Hershey Park wearing like little Hershey Kiss hats.
Yes.
Like it all came together.
No, we have to.
Full circle.
I'm dying to go. Maria's going to be like a 6-year-old running through that place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, we could not be together. We would be a full disaster. You would be exhausted.
By the way, have the kids gone? Have the 3 of them gone?
No, the kids have been to Chocolate World, which is like their chocolate factory tour.
Chocolate World?
Yes.
I hate my life. I want to go to Chocolate World. Kelsey, why can't I go to Chocolate World?
You can go. Take your sabbatical there.
I need no, you're right. You're right. One more vaccine. I'm going to Chocolate World.
That's right.
That's right. I know. Same here. I'm counting down.
That's it.
I have the first one, waiting for the second one.
And then boom. All right. Nicole, this conversation will continue. Thank you so much. And God bless. Well, I have a new best friend.
I said it in the first one and I'll say it again. Just a couple of besties.
God.
She's amazing.
It's just when you connect like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I say that if you're attracting a lot of dark people in your life that are toxic and negative, and, either it's because you're so positive and they want to suck your energy, try to, be aware of it and pivot. But I think on this show, the reason I I feel like I have instant friendships with so many people
100%.
because I think we vibrate.
Yeah.
We're very similar. And for Nicole, I just always marvel at people who are able to make it out of such humble situations.
Yeah.
And do what they do, and it's such a testament to the human spirit and what's possible for all of us. And I feel like, sometimes when we have means and privilege, we lose that hunger or that drive or that resourcefulness or that like, hey, I got to figure it out. I'm cornered here. And I think that's the challenge, for anyone who's blessed to be of means.
Yeah.
How do you keep that, or how do you have that humility or hunger or drive, or just figure it out rather than just write a check.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just learned so much about business, even and about parenting.
Well, I loved all the like depths we went to with her, right? It's like we cried, we laughed, it's like she's special. She's and very evolved. And I liked how she kept saying, when you were saying your generation is like this, she was like, knock that shit off. Yeah. We are cut from the same cloth, which you are, which is why you guys...
Well, I think she thought we were from the same generation, but I was doing the math.
That's because
she's 37 years old. She's,
she's 35, I think.
35. Well, she said she was 7 years older than her younger sister. And the younger sister was 30.
30. You're right.
I was just doing that.
But, I mean, point still stands. Like-minded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's still, she like me agrees that it still requires hard work.
Oh yeah,
to get there. Yeah. I still don't know an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
But again, more evolved. So again, it's like the old and new, where the best can come together is knowing you're going to work hard, knowing there are going to be people that are going to prevent you from getting to your goals, and building up the resilience to do it. But with the mindfulness of the new generation, which is like, I can tell she's like, I don't need 200 million. I'll take 10 million and give away 190.
Yep.
And we don't need any more than that. You know what I mean? You can see, and it's wonderful. And I agree with that, and I know people make fun of me for that, but whatever.
No,
the older I get, the more right I feel I am.
Agreed. And I think she's just like all around such a wholesome person. I mean, how many incredible tips? We could have thrown her anything, any topic and subject, and she had not like just regular, we've heard that tips, but incredible tips that were like, oh shit, okay, I'm going to implement that.
And when they're labeled the way they are, they're well thought out.
Yes.
When you get these phrases that you literally could print and put on a fortune cookie, okay.
Yeah.
She's done some trial and error here.
Like, I'm taking a self-care sabbatical. You're taking a self-care sabbatical.
Well, the Carney vacation is the self-care sabbatical. But hers, I think, is, again, it's more mindful.
Yeah.
See, this is where, as a regular guy, I always lacked that awareness. I had the instinct to say, hey, I'm shutting it down for 2 days. I'm ordering my pizza, I'm watching SportsCenter, and I'm not answering that phone. Mm-hmm. But it was never with the intention of, this is going to make me better, to block all this out. And this is why I love the people who will come on this show that are more evolved. Mm-hmm. And they can, help the shitbirds like me. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, this was wonderful. And I think we definitely made a new friend. And when all this passes,
we're going to Hershey's Park.
We are so going to Hershey's.
We're so going to Hershey's Park.
They say it's like paradise.
Well, I can't wait. I love chocolate.
Yeah, we have to fix your tummy so you can enjoy yourself. Yeah, we're gonna. It's all gonna get there. But until then, what?
Until then, you guys, be nice people, make good choices, and are you ready for this? Be pleasant.
With Vincenza. Oh my God. So anyway, little update just for the long Italian goodbye. Vincenza got a new haircut, but also she's completely bonded with Auntie Kelsey. And they are just together.
Two peas in a pod.
It's so wonderful to discover that too, to watch, someone who's new to little dogs and to really see the magic and the beauty of it.
It's crazy. I keep saying this to get, I grew up with dogs, you guys, but I always had big dogs. And there's just
they're different. They're the big buddies, and they're and
you lay on them. But these little baby. Oh, see, she won't even get.
Yeah, no, she wraps her arms around you, and she's like, "I'm good. That's it. Nope, keep me here where I'm safe."
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Anyways,
let's keep getting better together.